This is the story of how I climbed my first mountain. When I was 16, I was in the Boy Scouts, and we had planned a major event to go to this uh, ranch in the mountains of New Mexico. Now, at the time, I was living in Wisconsin, and the scout troop I was in did outings every month. I mean, not major events, but we went camping every month to campground where we would all drive there and set up tents and get out cots and sleep in sleeping bags. Everyone to their own, obviously, and cook food and just camping every month. And did that, but when I was 16, we had planned this major event outing, a big hiking trip, and we went down to New Mexico, took a train for days and days. Like, it was a sleeper train, and all the way down to New Mexico from Wisconsin. And we get there, and it was a backpacking trip because we had to carry all the tents and cots and sleeping bags and all of our food and water. And so it was a lot of stuff that we had to divvy up and carry. And see, the thing about backpack, like real hiking backpack, is, I mean, yeah, there are shoulder straps, but that's not the way to carry a lot of weight. It would wear you out. Plus, you'd be top heavy and tripping over everything. So the way that real hiking backpacks work is they have a frame in them, and you cinch up a belt around your waist, and that's where the weight of the backpack sits. And so we would go hiking down this trails. We would hike down a trail and go up these switchbacks, back and forth and back and forth and back and forth down a trail until we got to the campsite that we were gonna stop at for the night and cook food and rest, sleep, and then get up and do it again. And it was like 10 days of this trek, hiking up a mountain. And the base camp was, I don't remember, like 7,000 feet above sea level. And we were hiking for days and days and days. And then we finally get to the base of the mountain that we're all scheduled to climb. And we hike up these switchbacks back and forth and back and forth and back and forth for hours and hours and hours up these rocky, sometimes, and uneven trails, carrying everything the whole way. And we had we were carrying our water, and our water was on our back, and we each had, like hoses that would come so you could drink the water as you're hiking without having to, like take handle stuff and potentially drop it and spill your water, because that can be a really bad problem when you're out in the wilderness and on the side of a mountain. And you have limited water that you're having to ration. And so we climbed up this mountain, and we get to the top of it, and it's like 12,000 feet above sea level. So we climbed like 5,000 feet on these switchbacks, back and forth and back and forth and back and forth for hours and hours and hours. And, I don't think the switchbacks were properly marked on the maps. I don't know. I don't remember. I wasn't, real diligent about checking the map. I was 16. It's just following the leader or whatever, and having fun. But anyway, climbing up at that altitude, like over a mile higher in altitude than I was used to. Wisconsin, where I was at, the city in Wisconsin I was at, was like right on Lake Michigan, so we were like at sea level. Pretty sure that's sea level. Lake Michigan connects to the sea, so it's about sea level. But anyway, we go out to a base camp, and it's like over a mile higher than I'm used to. And I was 16 at the time, so I would get these nosebleeds, the capillaries or whatever in my nose, and the inside of my nose, like I don't know, I would get these nosebleeds like all the time. And so that's dangerous if you're out in the middle of the wilderness and you're bleeding. Obviously it can attract bears and stuff. Not to mention the fact that you're, carrying all this weight, hiking up these rocky trails and uneven trails. That, if you lose a lot of blood, I was getting these incessant nosebleeds. I had to take paper towel that we were also carrying and roll it up and put it in my upper lip, between my gums and my upper lip, and pinch it off there. And there's like a major artery to the nose that runs through that upper lip. And so if you roll up a piece of paper towel and put it in your upper lip, like under your upper lip, between your gums and the lip, and pull it back to you can pinch off that artery, and the bleeding would slow down considerably. I mean, it was gushing from my nose. And so I would put a piece of paper towel under my lip and use another one and put it in my nose, and man, it was rough. My nose was bleeding all the time, like multiple times an hour. And it was gushing blood too. It wasn't just like a tiny little trickle. I mean, I was pretty concerned, at 16, but it was an adventure, right? It was a major event. Camping trip, hiking up a fucking mountain. So, I did it, right? And that's all good, but the other thing is, I didn't, at the time I didn't have facial hair or anything, but I also didn't even think about putting on sunblock, but the sun was just beating down on us, even in the wilderness, where there wasn't like shade. We weren't walking like between trees and stuff. They were well-defined paths that were very rocky and uneven. But, the sun was just beating down on us, and my ears started to hurt so fucking bad. And I started to get blisters on my ears. But, then I made sure to do what I could to put sunblock on. The little, we were carrying everything with us, like 50-pound backpacks and stuff. I think mine was 50 pounds. But at the time I was like 5'6", and, pretty scrawny. I was a 16-year-old kid. So, yeah. There's that, and when we were hiking, and finally one day we get to the real foothills of the mountain that we're scheduled to climb, and it's just these rocks, big slope of rocks, and we climb and do these switchbacks back and forth, trying to keep hydrated and keep my nose dry, or free from blood that's going to attract wild animals, mountain lions and whatever. But climbing up these rocks, and we get to the top. Finally, we get to the top, and it's like just like a big pile of rocks. That's what it looked like. I mean, it looked like just 12,000 feet of a pile of rocks. And so there's that, but then I get to the top, and there's like a pipe at the top that's just like stuck. into the pile of rocks. And I stood on the pipe and, balanced on one foot because, hey, I made it to the top, right? And I'm wearing my backpack still, 50, 60-pound backpack. I'm only 5'6", but I made it to the top of a fucking mountain at 16 years old, with my nose bleeding incessantly and my ears blistering from sunburn. But I made it because we had planned and we had dreamed of getting to the top, summiting the mountain. And we did it. So that's my experience with climbing my first mountain when I was 16 years old. There wasn't any, like technical climbing. I mean, well, there was, but it wasn't to ascend the mountain at all. I mean, they were like climbing walls and stuff, and some of the campgrounds or campsites. It's a scout ranch, so it was a lot of fun when my nose wasn't bleeding and my ears weren't blistering from the sun. It was fun. But yeah, that's my experience climbing a mountain. A lot of planning, a lot of dreaming, a lot of goal setting, a lot of work. But I made it. And that's my story of climbing my first mountain.